and welcome back to the Dukascopy TV studio. I'm Natalie MacDonald, and Jean-François Owczarczak of MJT and Fingraphs is back in the studio to discuss your favourite pairs. Jean-François, thank you very much for coming in again today.
Hi Natalie, thanks for having me back.
Now, first up, we're going to take a look at some of the pairs that we looked at last week, aren't we, to see how they're doing?
Okay, so we're back on our website, fingraphs.com, and we're going to go into our Dukascopy live streaming directory. All prices are provided by Dukascopy. And we're going to have a quick look at the euro and the British pound. So first the euro.
Now the euro we discussed last week, as it still had 2 or 3 figures to go in its downtrend. How's it been performing since then?
Okay, well, it was only Wednesday, so it's only a few days back. There was a bit of a jolt at the end of last week. Let's have a look at the investor view, which brings a medium-term perspective. The weekly is still in a correction up. The daily has finished the first leg up. There was an intermediate top, and it's in a correction down. And the targets here, maybe I want to open it up a bit to point towards a level towards the 127.30 level for the end of this correction. Usually you have about 6-7 weeks of consolidation here. So there's probably another week, 10 days to go. On the hourly, well, we're in stress. I mean, the envelopes are touching each other. The initial targets were around 130, but as we see, prices are not moving up. The risk index is slowly moving higher, so that's not a good sign if risk goes up as prices can't make a move up. So we're going to have a look at the shorter term, at our trader's view. Our trader's view here showing a 60-minute, a 15 minutes, and a 4 minutes. Last week we were in a correction up mode. We had corrective up targets up to 130.150. That means as long as we stay below that, we're still in a correction. It's pretty much what happened, and now we're moving lower again. We did see some stress on the envelopes and on the risk index. And the next targets here, maybe I want to highlight this a bit, around 128.50 level. Now, if we go back here, so that's about a few days to a week. That's the target. And the 15 minutes, for the time being, still pointing down, 4 minutes also. Just wanted to expand. If somebody wants to have a very short-term view, he could go into our Super Scalpers view. The prices here are in live streaming mode with the Dukascopy feed. So every 5 seconds you'll see an update. And here we show 60 seconds, 15 seconds, and 5 seconds. So 60 seconds moving down, slowly oversold, correction up on the 15 seconds, not quite validated yet. And this correction up can be seen on the 5 seconds here. But that's very short term, so let's now turn to the pound.
Now the pound we discussed on last Wednesday, as you mentioned, was moving aggressively downwards. So what have we seen between then and now?
Basically a continuation of the trend. I mean, the weekly targets are still aggressively down towards the 140 level. The daily also in a downtrend, slowly getting towards exaggeration zones here, but the trend is quite strong, so we will need more of a confirmation here to confirm a correction up. And as the volatility increases, our targets increase also, and now we have a maximum target over the next few weeks, months, towards the 145 level. The hourly is in a E2, that means a super impulsive move. Although we had stress on the envelopes, the risk index is not confirming that yet, and here you have an initial first target around the 147 mark. Similarly to the euro, we did see a correction up on, well, not much of a correction up on the 60 minutes, and we're still moving down slowly towards an intermediate bottom, but we cannot confirm that yet. So it's still pretty much in a downtrend on the trader's view. So not quite at a point where we would be comfortable in calling a correction up. Now, wanted to have a look at something a bit different today, looking at yen crosses. So this is the list of the yen crosses in the Dukascopy feed, and just quickly wanted to have a look at the mosaics. So here you have all these yen crosses against the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, euro, pound, etc. And as we see on the weeklies, there's some signs of exaggeration on at least Australian, Canadian, Swiss franc. A bit less on the euro, where there's a bit more space towards the risk index. But all this seems to tell us that, well, we're in sort of an intermediate top mode, but that the move is not finished. And if you look at the potential, well, 104 on Australian dollar, Japanese yen, about 100 on Canadian dollar, 113 on CHF, 144 on euro yen. So I mean, that's about 6 months out, but there's still quite a bit of weakening potential for the yen against a basket of currencies. On the dailies, we were seeing some signs of exaggeration over the last weeks. These have been shrugged off quite easily, so we're really in a lateral running consolidation, and not much more should be expected here, although prices may stay sticky for a few weeks. Basically, the weekly is still good. The daily is sort of is probably gonna work around this zone a bit, but it's not a sell signal at least. Now in the hourlies, what we could say, and that's probably where we will have to monitor it for the time being. Well, there's initial stress on the envelopes, but as you see, the risk index here is still quite low, and so in that respect, there's still quite some potential to go over the next few days, week or so. And so for the time being, as with the other currencies. For example, if we take dollar yen, which is down here, well, there's still some potential up for the dollar against the yen. And the yen being the weakest currency here, there's still some potential up, down for the yen against the other currencies.
Something I did want to ask you about is you have the hourly charts here, but you also have 60-minute charts. What is the difference there? Okay,
well, it seems like it's the same, but it isn't. And what we wanted to do here is that the hourly is a standardized hourly. It's meant to be able to compare assets over all the asset classes. I mean, we've showed the Dukascopy database, but we also have a database of about 5,000 other symbols. And basically, the opening hours are often different. So the hourly is a standardized hourly. Basically, it takes 8 points a day, whatever the asset, whatever the opening hours. The 60 minutes, so this is used for the investor's view. Now, for the trader's view, we use a 60 minutes. So maybe quickly have a look here. If we go into the hourlies, if we go take... So now here we're in an investor's view. Now if we go into a trader's view, we use a real 60 minutes, which means we take 1 point every 60 minutes during the opening hours. And so this is more of a trader's instrument, and that's what the traders usually look at. This is more of an investor's instrument, the hourly here, meaning that the people are more interested in an entry point over the next few days, but not really intraday.
Jean-François, thank you very much for coming in. We look forward to seeing how all of these are doing next week.
Thank you.
That's all we've got time for. However, we'll be back shortly with more exclusive interviews, so don't go away.